Coming up next, one of the coolest stories of a one-hit wonder ever. This artist dropped out of high school to follow his rock and roll dreams. He scratched and clawed for 10 years before a chance meeting in an elevator gave him a shot at a record deal. Then he arranged and helped finish a song that he just knew would be a hit. But then he couldn't release it because an icon got first dibs on releasing her version. Finally, after so many failed promises, his song shot up the charts. This unbelievable story of rock and roll perseverance, straight from the artist, is coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you've ever wondered who sang that one song that you've loved for years, you're going to dig this channel and you'll probably find out who it is. Make sure that you subscribe below to get the story straight from the artist. And if you click up here, you can see our brand new merch. We also have a Patreon. That's the best way to help us to keep this a daily channel. We give you a catalog of content. You can be an honorary producer as well. So it's time for another edition of our series, Bottle Lightning. This is where we celebrate a song that was king for a day, or for many days. We honor artists and bands that had that one glorious hit that rocketed up the charts and for reasons unknown, didn't have another hit. We all know them for the term, one-hit wonder. But, here we try to step beyond that. We celebrate them as lightning in a bottle. So many great songs. Today, we focus on a song that came out of nowhere, really. To take a smooth-voiced rock and soul singer to the upper reaches of the charts. You probably recognize this song from the year 1988. And if you don't know it, you should. He kills it on this soul-galvanizing ditty. Talking about Talk It Over by the great Grayson Hugh.
Can we talk it over in bed?
Grayson Hugh dropped out of high school to pursue his rock and roll dreams, but it would take 10 years of paying his dues to finally get his shot. And just when he thought that he had his first hit ready to go, a legend decided that she wanted to record the song and put her version out first, which she was able to do. Now, I had a chance to talk at length with Grayson Hugh about this song. Fascinating story of perseverance and just sheer will. He even performs the song and walks us through how he arranged it and came up with it. As we go into this interview, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses I wear every day on this channel. And you should wear them too. If you go to Zenni.com, you can design your own look and add amazing features like blue blocks that protect your eyes from digital blue light that we run into every day with our screens. See for yourself, Zenni.com. You're going to dig it. Here is Grayson Hugh with the story of the 1988 hit, Talk It Over.
Baby, oh sweet baby.
You were pounding on doors with your tapes, trying to get signed. Tell me about those moments.
What I was doing is, literally finding out anybody that had anything to do with the record business and finding their, getting their number and arranging to meet up, and I would go and play them my tapes. A lot of times when I will tell this story, people invariably say, "You're making that up, right?" And no, I'm not making it up. My manager had a friend who was a barber on the Upper East Side. I got an Army cot, and I would, spend the night there. I brought a little black and white TV. It was pretty basic. It didn't even have a bathroom, so I'd have to walk 2 blocks to shower and shave at my manager's house. I went over there to begin my day during the week looking for a record deal. I was going up to her apartment, and this guy, later I found out his name was Michael Baker. It was just a very chance meeting, but it led to basically changing my life. So it was just the two of us in the elevator. He was carrying a briefcase, and I was carrying a synthesizer. "Oh, you look like a musician." He said, "Oh, I'm a record producer." And I said, "Oh, what do you produce?" And he said, "Well, I'm just finishing an album with the Blow Monkeys." Then I seized the moment. I said, "Look, would you like to hear some of my music?" So he said, "Yeah, sure." So we went back to my manager's apartment, and I played him the tapes, and Talk It Over was one of them.
Can we talk it over in bed?
Tears of Love that I had done a demo of. A bunch of other songs that aren't really on the radar right now. After hearing it, he did not believe that was me, apparently. And he said, that's you? Prove it to me by singing and playing right now. So I started playing and singing. And then he's going like pointing to his forearms. He goes, oh, wow. And I said, what's that about? And he was showing me his goosebumps.
Tell me that you still want me.
He really liked the music. He said, I can get you a record deal. So he first hired me to sing background vocals with the Blow Monkeys on their album, She Was a Grocer's Daughter.
What did I hear you say? You know.
True to his word, he got me a deal with RCA. And but the whole process took a year. So Blind to Reason didn't come out until, I believe, September of '88.
Harsh words are spoken, promises are broken.
Well, like you said, Blind to Reason was released in later '88, went gold, spawned several international hits. Talk It Over went to number 19, but much bigger than this chart position.
Come a little closer.
Song written by Sandy Linzer, like you said, Irwin Levine, that you arranged and really, as I understand it, or just from my perception, should have probably gotten a co-writing credit on it. As I understand it, though, it was Olivia Newton-John was given the rights at first release. Tell me that whole story, because that's a very interesting story.
What happened was, as soon as Sandy Linzer heard that I was signed to RCA, we were going to release Talk It Over as the first single.
Can we talk it over in bed?
His lawyer called RCA, and this is all, I heard about this from my A&R woman, Wendy Goldstein. And she said, yeah, his lawyer called and said, you had nothing to do with this song. You weren't even in the room, basically. And we will block you if you try to release this. And I said, I couldn't believe it. I said, look, not only did I arrange it, and with his blessing, I should have gotten a co-writing credit. I mean, though, I changed the chords, I changed sections. It was so obvious that he loved my version because he got the right of first release, by the way, with my own publisher. So, Olivia Newton-John, and he released her version with my arrangement, note for note.
Can we talk it over in bed?
Can we talk it over in bed?
RCA said, look, we're going to release another single, Tears of Love, which they liked a lot. We're going to see what happens. We're pretty sure that Olivia's single will fizzle and die. And that's what happened. It didn't really do anything. I think I saw a video once. It was pretty syrupy. And nothing against her. She's a great singer.
Hers was called Can't We Talk It Over in Bed?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, change the title. But anyway, that's what happened. That's the story. And, it's funny, years later, actually, it was 2000, I was teaching songwriting at Berklee College of Music in Boston. And one of the faculty members, and he had been on the session when Olivia recorded it. And he said, man, you should have heard the vitriol coming out of Sandy Linzer's mouth. He was saying, this guy tried to steal my song. And I said, wow, well, oh well, all's well that ends well.
Everything seems to work out
when we talk it over in bed.
Yeah, that was crazy. That gave me my first inkling of how really, bad behavior that goes on in the record world. That just, I would experience a lot more of it before I took a vacation and moved down south.
Tell me about recording that and arranging it. Such a great song. It's just got so much soul in it.
Using harsh words.
And love walks out that door.
What I love about it is how you kind of do this call and response. And you didn't hear that in pop music very often at that time.
Right.
You'd have the soul singers, the very soulful, and love walks out that door. And then you'd say, out that door. You do your thing,
Hey,
right?
that sounds good there, Adam.
Love walks out that door.
Out that door.
Well, I've listened to this record so many times, but you would follow up and do these little, you were a painter and you'd paint all these incredible shades and just the tone of it was incredible. I loved how you would take you'd go after them, and tell me about that, how that came about.
That's a good analogy, painting. I like that. Well, yeah, the call and response thing is really right out of the black church. I mean, when I was a teenager, I played for a couple of years as the pianist in a black gospel church in Hartford, Connecticut, Warburton Community Chapel. And I tell you, I learned more about music in a way than all the years of my classical and jazz training as a young kid. That's where it comes from. That whole thing of the preacher would start to, I want to tell you one thing. We all move through this together, the choir and the preacher and it's just a choreographed performance. And, that's what that is.
Must have been out of my head.
And I think by the time I recorded that song in the studio, I had already absorbed all of that from being the pianist in the gospel church. But that's what I went back to when I arranged it. And I wanted to get an army of background singers so that I would almost be overpowered by them. And I just got, let's see, I got the Black Flames, which was 4 young kids from Newark, New Jersey. And then I also, we got a couple of great other background singers. Will Downey Jr. was one of them. He's not a background singer. He's a lead singer, a great soul singer with a career of his own.
And it's true, don't you?
We had like 8, 9, 10 singers. And so that was the main thing. Also, I wanted certain instruments, the tone of the electric sitar, which I've always loved, like the song "Come and Get Your Love" by Redbone. It had that funky sound.
Harsh words are spoken.
My synthesizer, the Korg, that Sandy Linder made fun of in the studio. He said, "Oh, I'm going to get you a good one. This sounds cheap." Well, that little cheap Korg Poly 61 was what gave that song its charm. One of the settings was number 85. I edited the sound. I took some of the attack off, and I made a sound that I called plucked organ. Where, it was an organ sound, but by changing it, it would sound like when you hit it, it would sustain.
Harsh words are spoken. Promises are.
It starts loud and gets soft. Forte piano is what I was looking for. And that, I used that on the rest of the album quite a bit. And really, if you take that away, you would say, what's different about that song? It gives chords a warmth, just a warmth and that imbues the entire song with this emotion that without it, it would be really missed. Michael and Axel were really very good producing me. I basically told them what I wanted, and they made it happen. Talk It Over, the one live instrument was me playing the piano and my synthesizer, the Korg.
Well, now you know that I love you.
Also, my friend Fernando Saunders on bass came in.
You play with Lou Reed.
Lou Reed, he was his musical director. But yeah, Fernando was great. Everything else was drum machines. It really was a perfect combination of synthesizers with the live acoustic.
Tell me that you still want me.
And I love how you painted some other great color, like with like This Old Heart of Mine, bringing that back. That was great. And well.
Well, well, well.
In that song, you can hear all those influences that I'm sure were huge for you as a child.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, you absorb those things. And 10 years old, listening to What I'd Say by Ray Charles, memorizing that electric pianos, the whole song. You absorb all these things that, and then Van Morrison absorbed it too. And then I would listen to Van and kind of be influenced by what he was doing.
I know we can do it.
There's something about the simplicity of the chords that is a very good approach to writing, to songwriting.
We talk it over. Gotta talk over in bed.
And when I taught at songwriting at Berkeley, in fact, I would use that song and some other ones of mine as an example of doing a lot with little.
Even that piano solo, how you do that.
It just octaves and, it's deceptively simple.
The other thing I love is a music video. It's such a great video where the suitcase is opening up and you got the soul singers coming out of it and then you coming out. The woman is packing her suitcase to leave, and it puts you right in the moment of what that song's all about.
You know that I love you.
Thank you. That was when you get ready to make a video, RCA, they come out and show you some reels of different directors. And I picked this one guy, Nicholas Brandt, an English director, because largely on the basis of a video he did with the Escape Club. There was a song they had.
Oh, Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West. That's, yeah, right. And if you remember the video, there were a lot of interesting sort of, I guess you'd call it trick photography, where elbows would turn into guitars and stuff like that.
I don't care. I love her eyes and her wild.
It was his idea, the whole thing with the suitcase. I mean, I just picked him. We set up the time to film the video in London, and I was actually on tour, and I left my band and flew over to London and made the video. Didn't really have time to, get to know anybody at all. Nicholas had filmed all of the parts, except mine, before I got there. So the time was used very efficiently. It was a lot of standing up with slightly bent legs. So good thing I was in good shape, because it was a lot of, you get some sore muscles after a while, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, now, baby.
Really breaking it down, this song that's really how we met. I covered it in a segment that we had called Hidden Gems of the 80s, and
Right, thank you.
as the #1 song. And it's just a song that people should know, that they need to listen to, because it needs to have a revival because it's such a great song, such a great voice. And what are your final thoughts on the song that you feel all these years later being the song that really put you on the map?
Well, thank you. Yes, it was. Really, I love the song. My wife and I still perform it as a duo, Grayson Hugh and Polly Messer. And also with my band, Grayson Hugh and the Moonhawks. Still enjoy performing Talk It Over. And, that song is very good to me.
Isn't this such a cool story? I love this song too. Leave us a comment about this delectable slice of 80s smooth rock and soul. What do you think of the song? Do you remember it? Is this the first time you've heard it? What other Bottle of Lightning one-hit wonders should we go deep on here in the future? Let us know in the comments. Now, if you dig our content, our videos, make sure that you subscribe below so you never miss out. Make sure to look us up on Patreon for even more content that helps us keep the music alive, and that's what's important about what we're trying to do here. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.